made it. At the North American Bigfoot Center. I'm gonna go in and ask if they let you film in there. If they don't, this is gonna be a real short video. They do let you film in here. That's good. Alright, this is Murphy. It was built by a Creature Effects workshop. This greets you as you come in. There's little tracks that go around. So this is cool. Yeah, Bigfoot. Like, I'm not super into like Bigfoot things. Like, I don't believe in Bigfoot. Don't tell anybody I said that. But like, of all the cryptids, I think he's the most plausible cryptid. Like, there's no one thing that sinks the Bigfoot as far as like evidence goes. Aside from the fact, there's no real evidence of him. But like, all the things you would say, the place couldn't support a creature that size, things like that, nothing really. Like I said, he's the most plausible of the cryptids. Like, if you look at the Mothmans and the Chupacabras, like, is the most believable one, I would say. So I've always liked Bigfoot like that. So what do we got? The wall of hoaxes. Oh, here we go. 8 Canyon. So I think the story of 8 Canyon is there's some guys back in the olden days, 1924. Some dudes get attacked by a gang of Bigfoot. I think if you read more into it, you'll hear that it was some people screwing with them or something like that. Oh, you know what I did want to comment on now that I think of it? Can you spot Sasquatch tree damage? There's all kinds of weird tree damage. So here's the thing. I was watching one Bigfoot documentary once, and the guy was talking about these pine trees that like snapped in the middle and come down the place. He's like, Bigfoot had to do it, right? And he said, they don't normally do that, trees. And I'm like, okay. So a couple deer seasons ago, I'm out behind the house, and it's like the last day of deer season. It's like a blizzard. There's wind. It's getting dark. I'm ready to tack it in anyway. And I look, and there's about a pine tree about 20 feet tall, like the guy was talking about, and the wind going back and forth. And I see that pine tree snap right in the middle and fall down just the way this guy said Sasquatch supposedly likes to bend him down. So I had to laugh when I saw that, because like it's just funny. Anyway, I'm gonna like actually soak this place in instead of just run around and jabber.
Have somebody have to lock it or something. You'll have to tie it from the inside, and so the next night.
So here we've got a list of indigenous names for the Sasquatch, the Bigfoot. Supposedly, the Native Americans have all kinds of stories about Bigfoots and things like that. There's another YouTuber called Trey the Explainer who has a video on Native American Bigfoot stories. And he kind of asked the question, there's the claim that all the Native Americans have all kinds of stories about Bigfoot. But do they? So what he did was he listed some criteria for a Bigfoot story. Like, it has to be tall, hairy. It's got to be that, right? It's got to be something like, forget exact criteria. You should watch the video. And then he poured through like a collection of hundreds of Bigfoot stories from indigenous cultures, and maybe 4 of them describe a Bigfoot. Because if you look, what do we got here? Stick Indian, cannibal monster, hairy giant maybe, cannibals, wild men. Okay, yeah, Bigfoot, tree striker, big man with a little hat. There's a lot of them that are like that. They're not really Bigfoot stories. They're stories of weirdos in the woods, sure, but they're not strictly a Bigfoot. So anyway, not that they don't have any stories. It's just, Native Americans weren't talking about Bigfoot all the time, according to Trey the Explainer. So, I haven't gotten out of like the entrance.
And we know that because of our recreation.
I've read that book, or I've read a book with the same cover. I don't know. It was pretty good.
I even cast one of these footprints.
I forget a lot of it,
and we kind of
but
pieced together what
so
happened.
yeah, this looks like a Bigfoot in the media kind of a section.
If you're not making mistakes, you're probably not really Bigfooting, in my opinion. Mistakes are plentiful. That's why we named this guy Murphy to begin with. Murphy's Law. What a fantastic trip. Nico may have seen another Sasquatch. Brandon saw his first Sasquatch through a thermal imager. I heard these knocks. What a fantastic time.
So my favorite piece of Bigfoot media lately has been the book by Max Brooks called De-Evolution. It came out a couple years ago. It's a very quick read. I recommend you read it. I could talk for a long time about it, but I'll try to keep it short. It's about killer Bigfoot. It kind of says it on the cover, so I'm not really spoiling anything there. But it takes place it's set in the Pacific Northwest here around Mount Rainier. I'm going to say Rainier. And it's told from the perspective of a woman writing in a journal to her therapist. She and her husband, who's recently unemployed, moves to a planned community called Green Loop. Green Loop's like its gimmick is you're super isolated from the rest of the world, but they're also super connected. So it's like a self-sustaining community. They get drone deliveries, so it's kind of like a best of both worlds thing. It was founded by this Elon Musk, Steve Jobs type person, and so a bunch of it's not a big community either. There's maybe like half a dozen houses, and there's a community center. So that's kind of the setting, and it's basically set up. So what happens in the book is Mount Rainier erupts and cuts this community off from everything, and they know they're in trouble, but they think they'll be fine. Like I said, it's a self-sustaining community. They're not too worried. But the problem is with that mountain erupting, it makes all the wildlife have to move, including the Bigfoot clans that live in the area. And the Bigfoot clans, this book does a very good job of presenting them as animals, not monsters, not spirits or anything like that. They're animals. But the thing about giant primates is chimpanzees will hunt and kill monkeys. And compared to a Bigfoot, a human being's basically a monkey. So the Bigfoots, they show up, and first they start small at first. They eat a cougar that's been stalking them, and then they start going for the compost, and eventually they start going for the tasty monkeys that live in the house. And it's a very good book. It's like I said, it's very quick. It's not a long read. It builds the suspense very well, and the first time I read it, I was completely hooked the whole way through. Terrified too. It does a very good job of scaring the crap out of you. Interestingly enough, I read it a second time, and the tone had completely changed to me. It felt like reading one of those sci-fi original movies. It was just the characters were all super over the top and cartoonish the second time around. It was, I don't know. I would definitely recommend you read it. And like I said, it's a short read, so. Oh my God, I thought that was me. It is me. Okay, I thought that was like a film. What is this? What is going on here? Thermal imaging. Oh no. I hope I didn't do anything embarrassing. That's cool. Why is it burned there? That's neat. Okay, let's look at more stuff. Looks like we got some Gigantopithecus blacki fossils or replicas of fossils on there. So this is supposedly the critter that Bigfoot evolved from. Big ass ape that used to live in the Pacific Northwest, but it went extinct. They've only found teeth of it, I guess. Okay, this is the one that started This is supposedly, the famous, the one, everyone's seen that one. I've also heard that's a guy in a gorilla suit, but I don't know. I wasn't there. What do we got here? Hands. Here we've got a hair sample. Bigfoot hair. Once you figure out how they identify hair, like they compare it to a known animal. If they can't find it, they call it unknown. That's that definitive, but anyway, this exhibit is about Bigfoot from around the world. We got Yowie, the Australian Bigfoot. We got the Vietnamese. We got one in Sumatra. China, I don't know, the guy who said that. Yeti, of course, in Tibet. I was reading just like a book about cryptids in general. I can't remember the title now, but the author was saying Bigfoot's like an invasive species as far as cryptids go. It's everywhere. And that, again, also makes sense because, guess what else is everywhere? Human beings. So, yeah. It's not a small wonder we kind of see something that looks sort of like us but isn't. I don't think, anyway. What's this? Ooh, Bigfoot nest. Under construction. So, my earlier remarks about tree damage, I could see that happening. I can see that happening on its own. That's a little more dramatic. It has twist and fall, and then kind of twist around at it. Yeah, these two I can see natural. That one, yeah, something did that. Maybe a person. Whatever. It's like I said in Roswell, I didn't come in here to be a ding, so yeah, let's just enjoy ourselves for a while. Oh, I did want to show you this. So, this is a Bigfoot butt. I saw that and my first thought wasn't buttocks. I was like, how the hell did they get the cast of that? Why would Bigfoot has a narrow ass, apparently. Let's follow the actual track. I think I'm supposed to go this way. Alright, outdoorsness. That was the North American Bigfoot Center. Honestly, most of my money went into the gift shop, so I got a little pin for myself, some gifts for the fam. They like Bigfoot too. I like the idea of Bigfoot. I like a world where a Bigfoot is plausible. You know what I mean? Because if, everything gets too developed and there's no more wild places, then that pretty much wraps up Bigfoot. So, in that sense, I like the idea of Bigfoot and believe in Bigfoot and that kind of thing. But do I think there's actually a giant ape running around in the North American woods? Besides human beings, no. But it doesn't matter. That's the point. I'm going to tell you about the time I saw Bigfoot. Buckle up, this is a very boring, stupid story. It was many years ago. I was a kid. I must have been in elementary school, maybe later in elementary school. It was in the wintertime. And you've probably seen me film from the road I saw it on. It was right out in front of my parents' house. I was standing out in front of my parents' house. I walked out into the road one day, and I looked to the north way, where most of the people live, ironically. And there was a dark figure, tall, like it looked like maybe 7 foot, 8 feet tall, completely black, and it walked across the road and either into the woods or down the driveway. It was obviously a guy in a snowsuit or something like that, but man, it looked exactly like what they see Bigfoot. You know, you've seen all the videos, all the photos, you've seen them all. This looked just like that. I said, kind of startled me for a second. It's like, oh, Jesus. But, I mean, yeah, I've never seen anything like that around there ever. Tracks, nothing like that. So. Anyway, that's my Bigfoot story. Yeah, so if you come here, you could maybe spend an hour and a half in there, I think. If you read every little thing and pore over every little thing, maybe you could stretch it into 2. I don't know. I was in there maybe an hour, a little over an hour, and I spent a lot of it in the gift shop, just pouring over stuff to get folks. So, nice place, good place. If you're around here, definitely check it out. I don't know if I'd drive 10,000 miles or 4,000 miles to see it, just this, but it's definitely worth a trip if you're around here. Boring, Oregon. So, I'm tired. I goes up at like 6 is when I left the rest area, probably around 6 o'clock. Got here a little after 10 o'clock when it opened, so 4 hours doesn't feel like much, but after you, a string of, 8-10 hour days on the road, man, I'm beat. So. Anyway, I won't be able to check into my hotel until 1:30, so I gotta find something to do for 3 hours. Oh, Christ. Anyway, that's the video. Like and subscribe, and we'll do some more Oregon stuff, maybe. Maybe some more Bigfoot related things, who knows? Maybe that's not the video, we'll see.